Supernatural is a show known for many things: themes of loss, faith, free will, and bisexual representation? But perhaps above all of that, the one thing the show might have dabbled in the most consistently was its meta concepts. The idea that Supernatural exists within itself. Meta is a prefix that is derived from the Greek word transcending, indicating a self-referential nature. Just like metadata would be data relating to data, meta storytelling is storytelling related to your story. It'd be like if I looked at my own script and said, "This is getting lengthy, cut to the chase, this is a YouTube video not in English class." So how does meta relate to Supernatural? What can we learn from these episodes that reference the self? Did they end up breaking Supernatural? But before that, I wanted to take a minute and talk to you all about something that I'm finally launching. The Jade the Zoomster Discord server. A new place to hang out, discuss Supernatural and other shows, or whatever you feel like talking about. Subscribers on my Patreon will even gain access to a special channel where you can pitch new video ideas and give feedback directly to me. The link is in the description, and I hope to see everybody there. The first instance of Supernatural playing with its own four walls was in Season 1, Episode 17, Hell House, the story that introduced the Ghostfacers, and regular fans of this channel will know that I am huge fans of them. The Ghostfacers themselves are clearly a parody of ghost hunting shows and blogs, but the episode is more fun with how it toys with those things too. Having them reference Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a big deal, as that show was one of the major inspirations for Supernatural among pretty much every other semi-serialized genre TV show at the time.
WWBD. What would Buffy do?
The way the episode interweaves its story about a tulpa with the Ghostfacers is the key to it all, though. Sam and Dean are able to literally change the course of the episode once they learn that it's a tulpa by feeding information to both Harry and Ed, leading to a botched confrontation between the two of them and the Tibetan symbol, and they then just decide to burn the house down, much like the writers ended up burning down their own fourth wall several seasons later. Hell House is a great example of flirting with meta storytelling without fully getting there yet. It clearly parodies things that are adjacent to Supernatural itself, while messing with its own fourth wall and how the monster of the week gets stopped. The Ghostfacers find themselves returning a few more times as well, most notably in their standalone episode in Season 3, an episode literally written as a commentary on how reality TV shows like it would someday overtake all of TV if the writer's strike hadn't have ended. Harry and Ed's appearance in Season 9's Thin Man is also pretty meta in nature, with the involvement of said Thin Man a clear reference to creepypasta and internet horror in general. But come on. We all know the show gets wilder with it, right? Alright, let's bring him in, come on. Let's bring in Chuck. This is it, okay? This is the point when Supernatural decided to just tear down all walls separating it from us and just plopped Sam and Dean into a world where their lives, their stories, everything were novels being read by hundreds of fans. And behind it all was a squirrely writer, Chuck Shirley. The meta implications here are clear, from using literal episode titles for each book to the books being called Supernatural. But even beyond that, there's the fact that Chuck Shirley's pen name, Carver Edlin, is an amalgam of the names Jeremy Carver and Ben Edlin, two staff writers on the show at the time. The episode even extends right out of the TV and grabs at fan bases that watch the show. There's mentions of the ongoing demon storyline being craptastic and even Wincest?
They do know we're brothers, right?
Doesn't seem to matter.
Oh man. The concept of Supernatural existing within Supernatural is where the show roots its metatextual claws for most of the remainder of the show. And with Chuck's reveal in Season 11 of being God, the entire thing kind of evolves from there. A lot of funny references that I just kind of want to point out too. The publisher for Chuck's books is named Sarah Siege, another reference to writers on the show, this time being Sarah Gamble and Julie Siege. The diner that Sam and Dean eat at is named Kripke's Hollow, which is obviously a reference to Eric Kripke, the showrunner and creator of Supernatural, but it could even be seen as a reference to Stars Hollow, the fictional town where Gilmore Girls takes place, which was Jared Padalecki's breakout role. At the end of the day, it's ironic that it's the following episode titled Jump the Shark, because this is when I always felt like Supernatural just did that. But maybe it's like Chuck said.
It's really not jumping the shark if you never come back down.
Supernatural's early middle years are where its most creative strides occurred, and you can find most of the show's meta episodes in the stretch of seasons 4 through 6. Sliding into season 5 is one of the show's greatest episodes, Changing Channels. Rather than expanding upon the supernatural really exists angle of the prior episode, Changing Channels revisits the broader TV angle that Hell House or Ghostfacers might have pioneered. Sam and Dean are plucked by Gabriel right into an endless revolving door of TV parody after TV parody. What I find so interesting about this episode, though, is the way that it's able to tell such a serious story alongside the goofy aspects of it all. Seeing Sam and Dean thrust into these weird parodies is already entertaining, but when you combine that with the fact that the whole ordeal is set mid-apocalypse and the reveal that the trickster is Gabriel, it's really cool. I also appreciate all the work that went into these parodies. The swath of genres is fantastic. It would have been really easy to stick with genres adjacent to Supernatural, but getting a medical soap, a CSI parody, and even commercial parodies like the Herpexia one,
seriously?
It was really great. For a lot of people, this is probably the pinnacle of Supernatural's meta episodes, and it's not hard to see why. It's taking on and making jokes at a wider world of television rather than punching down at its own fan base, which is something I don't mind, but it's something that people have voiced criticism of in recent years. I will note though, it's funny how Supernatural decided to slide in 2 back-to-back meta episodes between this and the real Ghostbusters. Now, I'm not entirely sure if there's any proof or evidence of this, but I think this episode might have been intended to be the 100th episode of the show. In Season 5, the actual 100th episode is episode 18, entitled Point of No Return. And while it's a dramatic and instrumental episode in the season's plotline, it's not exactly celebratory. And Supernatural definitely did celebratory episodes for episodes 200 and 300. And when you look at episode 200, this feels very similar to what they do there. I should probably know it's my least favorite of the episodes I've talked about in this video so far, and I think it's the biggest example of why this metafiction can sometimes fall flat. Well, it's pretty funny and entertaining to watch Sam and Dean visit a supernatural convention. It feels like it's spending more time poking fun at fans than it does relishing in the show's long-running mythology. And on top of that, I never felt like the actual ghost story that we got here was all that entertaining. I felt like this one was, while enjoyable, a little too flying too close to the sun for me. I didn't find many of the jokes relating to the show's fan base that funny, and Chuck was entertaining enough, but really felt more like a complete joke character instead of how he'd been presented prior. Not to mention his whole relationship with Becky is weird, especially once you learn that he's God. As far from a bad episode, I do like the big panel that Chuck has with the fans and everything, but there are much better episodes that critique the show. Kinda like Seasons 4 through 6 hit again with the final episode from this era that we'll talk about, and this one might just be the best. The Fritz mistake takes the entire idea of a fourth wall and literally has Sam and Dean smash through it. This feels like the ultimate culmination of every idea Supernatural has had about TV and its role within the wider space of genre TV. It's critiquing the show like a lot of episodes like The Monster at the End of This Book and The Real Ghostbusters did, while also poking fun at the world of television like Changing Channels or Hell House. It combines it all into a fantastic episode that's absolutely one of my favorites of the series. Not only is it just incredibly entertaining to watch, Jared and Jensen bumble around in their real lives and I love it, but I also love the jokes relating to the producers. There's jokes that feel like they were written purely for the staff to get a kick out of, and as a super obsessed fan who makes dozens of videos a year about the show, I enjoyed those jokes too. I also just love how, in the Supernatural universe, we basically just watched a beloved genre TV show horrifically end because its stars bought organs from the black market, another star was brutally stabbed, and the former executive producer and creator was shot and killed on set by an extra.
His name's Misha. Misha?
This is easily one of my favorite episodes of the show, and probably the single best one on this entire list. Out of all of them, it feels like it nails the concept of a meta episode. It's funny, it critiques the show, but does it all in a way that feels earnest and fun, and it also makes a joke of TV in general. It's a lovely pairing of all of the show's ideas about itself and TV, and just makes it such a nice time. Throughout the next several seasons, Supernatural didn't touch meta storytelling much. There were a few nods here and there. Metatron in Season 9 has this weird angle where he calls himself a writer. Like most ideas in Season 9, it's pretty bad and not executed well enough to be remembered. Season 10's 5th episode, the show's 200th overall episode, is where the show finally strikes back and delivers another beautifully done meta episode in the form of fan fiction. I've always really liked this episode, but on my most recent rewatch I did for my 20th anniversary video, you can watch that here, I really came to appreciate this episode for how it rekindles the joy I felt for the show. Coming off of pretty much all of season 9 and the first 4 episodes of season 10, the show was in a very rough spot, and this episode felt like a huge revival. It doesn't fix the season from here on out, but it certainly woke me up a little bit. I love the references the episode makes about the show. The musical format is so well done. Again, it's so earnest, it's so heartfelt. Unlike the real Ghostbusters, this feels like a complete and absolute celebration of Supernatural, its fan base, its lore, its mythology, everything about it. I even love the message throughout. The Monster of the Week comments that Supernatural is far from genre dreck, and you feel it even if the show had been genre dreck for the past several seasons. Much like the French Mistake, it's a perfect execution of everything. It's more like loving jabs instead of punching down, and the commentary the episode makes about family and what Sam and Dean mean to each other and the audience is heartfelt, and it's absolutely one of my favorite episodes of the entire show.
Not bad.
And now that brings us to the last one that I will talk about. I won't talk about Mariah for too long, considering I already made an entire video about it during Winchester Week. You can check that out here. But this is easily one of the show's biggest meta episodes, but in a different way than what we've seen before. With Chuck finally unmasked as God and a writer, we're able to take the story direction to a cool place where Sam and Dean have to reckon with somebody who just loves watching them suffer. I love that the episode plays out almost like a generic Supernatural finale before there being a rug pull at the end. It's the ultimate evolution of the format. We're literally told that everything Sam and Dean went through was because Chuck was making them jump through hoops. He calls it a story. He talks about bringing back Mary if Dean will kill Jack. He literally says, "Welcome to the end" at the end of the episode, a clear and direct reference to season 15, the following season being the final of the entire show. It's a tumultuous episode, and it's one that I've already spoken about a lot, but it's one of my favorite meta episodes of the entire show because of how fresh I felt. It doesn't deal with TV as a whole, or Supernatural's existence in itself, but rather the machinations of storytelling and the ideas that Sam and Dean realize they're just characters in a larger story. It plays on your expectations, it plays on the characters' expectations, and then the flip at the end is so damn good. This idea is carried through in another episode in the following season too. Season 15, episode 5, Proverbs 17:3, is basically an entire 30 minutes of boring paint-by-the-numbers case of the week that it turns out was written by Chuck to be boring. Hell, really all of season 15 is meta and could probably make for a good video sometime. Let me know if you want that. But yeah, I think that the 3 pillars that we could see of these meta episodes is accentuated by Mariah. You know, we have ones that critique TV shows on their own, like Changing Channels, ones that critique Supernatural, like The Real Ghostbusters, and then ones that use the meta to tell the story, like Mariah. I think it's really cool. At the end of the day, did Supernatural's meta episodes make the show better or worse? If you couldn't tell from my opinions in all of these episodes, I think it ultimately made it better. There's some moments where it struggles. I know some people do not like the direction that the show took with season 15, but I really appreciate the stories that know their stories and play with that. It'd be hard to look at meta narratives in Supernatural and say that they were a mistake when 4 episodes I talked about today would make my top 15 list of the entire show. Genuinely though, thank you all for watching, and please do check out the Discord in the description below. I'd love to have you all there. Comment down below any other ideas or episodes and concepts you want me to talk about, and I'll definitely make sure to talk about them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.